welcome to Desk of Lady Ada.
Hey, 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 it's back at the Desk of Lady Ada with me, Lady Ada, and Mr. Lady Ada. And we're doing there's another one of our videos in the awesome Maker to Market video showcase that we're doing. We're up to number 7. I don't even know.
That's right.
We're on this long journey, but we're going to do it till the end.
Yeah.
And we've got an exciting show for you tonight where we're going to be talking all about marketing.
That's right. Just to recap, this is Maker to Market. We did concept, research, evaluation, design, prototyping. Last week was funding. And funding was interesting because, recap, and if you want to watch the video, you can, we talked about many of the maker companies in the scene. Mm-hmm. And one of the neat things that happened was the day after, Glowforge announced a huge round of, I think, 22 million in funding, bringing them up to 60 million. So,
and then Formlabs also got some.
Formlabs today,
party.
Yesterday or the day before.
I don't remember.
Today, I don't know.
Yeah.
The news is getting around, but watch it because it's a neat look at the current state of the hardware world. And then we had a video that you and I did 6 years ago about the current state at the time of open source hardware. So that was funding, pretty exciting, and a lot of people enjoyed it. They said this was very helpful because we went over crowd supply, crowdfunding, all sorts of ways.
Bootstrapping, VC, no VC, trade-offs, how much other companies have raised, who to talk to, maybe if you want to raise money. But okay, so you've gotten past that step. So you've designed your product, you've prototyped it, chosen parts, you're getting ready for manufacture, and marketing is a stage of that. Marketing is part of how you're going to get your product fit, how you're going to convince people that your thing is the best thing ever, which it is, of course. And we're going to talk about how we do a little bit of marketing here at Adafruit. We do it a little bit of an interesting way.
Yeah, let's just be straight up. Everything's great until marketers come in and ruin it. And so our approach to marketing is very different. I'll talk a little bit about the advertising world. I worked in advertising for a really good advertising agency, and I saw a lot. And I saw a lot that I liked, and a lot of stuff that I said to myself I would never want to do if I had the chance.
Yeah, I live like an eagle cat, and you live in like marketing world. Like this is your experience, your expertise.
Yeah, and luckily, when you have a great product, a great cause, a great brand, Lady Ada is one of those things. People and entities. It's a lot easier. So we'll talk about that and more on marketing. Okay. Now first, what I wanted to do is, before we even start it off, is what is Circuit Playground? Because this is marketing is a big concept. I don't think humankind will ever quite figure it out, or maybe we did.
Okay.
And that's why we have so much of it. No, we actually have some marketing materials.
Oh, lovely.
So I thought we'd play this little Circuit Playground promo that Noah and Pedro, our team, did. And I think that'll help explain it, and that's also part of our good content is good advertising strategy that we do. So let's watch what Circuit Playground is, and then we'll just dive right in.
Circuit Playground is our new all-in-one board aimed towards education and beginners. It features 10 NeoPixel LEDs, a motion sensor, a temperature sensor, mini speaker, sound sensor, a light sensor, 2 buttons, and a switch. We think it's a great way to practice programming on real hardware with no soldering or sewing required. The onboard Atmega32U4 processor is Arduino compatible, so you can program it with the Arduino IDE and upload your code via micro USB. It also has a JST connector, so you can plug in a battery to make your projects portable.
Okay, so that's Circuit Playground.
Good explanation.
And that's a video that we made. And one of the things that you're going to notice that's a theme with all of the content and more that you see here is a lot of it lives on the Adafruit.com site, and then a lot of it lives on a lot of social media properties and more. And that's what I kind of wanted to start off with. And I'm gonna lead the engineer here.
Hi.
And I'll ask you questions like, why do you think we do stuff like this? So.
And I'm gonna be like, I don't know, engineer, I don't know, marketing. Marketing's evil, right?
Yeah. Well,
isn't it?
yeah, usually it is. Okay, so this is the first stop. So this is our about page. This is adafruit.com/about. And if you notice right now in the site, it's the Star Trek anniversary, so we decided let's have some fun with our site, and we have a very spacey looking logo. So the site is relevant, it changes, it has a good reason for people to come back. The other thing is in the About Us section, we frequently update any news about the company, and then we also have a monthly update on the stats of the company and more, and then the show stats. And so, Lady Ada, I guess I'll ask you, do you have a physical scrapbook with all of the things that have happened with Adafruit over the last 10 years?
I mean, kind of. I have all the prototypes we ever made, and I keep them in bins, so I can always
So you have some physical hardware.
I do have, it's not in a scrapbook, it's in a scrap shelf, so I have the first kit we ever prototyped to have the first Minty Boost that you and I etched together, and the first Mini POV and the Zox box, all that stuff. I have a big history of it if we ever need to take photos or refer to it.
So your main focus is the physical hardware. Gotcha. So
I don't have any I don't have a paper scrapbook, no.
You don't have a paper scrapbook, right? Because it's a digital world. So
it's a digital.
Right.
I'm a digital girl living in a digital world.
So one of the things that we do, and we try to do a good job of this, is when there's any type of news about the company, we update an about page. That's really important. One of the things about marketing is a lot of people will tell the story for you, and if they have an easy thing that they can just cut and paste from, here's what Adafruit is, here's the founder, it'll make their jobs easier. As the editor at Make, and before that Popular Science, and before that Hackaday, journalists are lazy. I'll just keep saying things like, everything's great until marketers ruin it, and journalists are lazy. They just want the information directly from the source as fast as possible.
Yeah, they're not going to dig through your site and it's it has to be super clear. And we sometimes when we look at other companies, it actually takes a few minutes to figure out who works there and what they do.
You can't usually. So that's one of the things. And again, if you want to see some stats about the company, we publish a PDF every single month. And this goes with more of business strategy, but if you're not measuring things, they're probably not going to improve or hit your goals. So just some of the things that we have on the stat page.
Yeah, what are some of these things?
Yeah, how many page views we get a month. 14 million page views, 2 million uniques a month. How many posts we post a day? About 30 times a day. All the topics we cover. How many tutorials do we have? Lady Ada, how many tutorials do we have right now? Do you know?
1,050?
That's right. So we'll talk about Learn and why we do some of that stuff soon too. A couple other things. The Adafruit store. How many products we have? How many distributors we have? How many people that are in the Adafruit community? Depending on the site. Some of it's 2.1 million. Some of it's 109,000, like Twitter. One thing I didn't put in the long list of things here is the number of GitHub repos that we have. So code becomes advertising and marketing. If someone's going to buy your electronics, they're probably going to want to buy electronics that have the most code, the most support. So think about that. Like every product you have, how much code is out there? How many libraries are for it? How many photos of it are there? How many videos are there? How many learning guides? And if all those things are checked off, you probably have a pretty good method for the content to get out there on its own, for Google to index it and more. So there's other stats, our iOS app, our shows, and some of the things about the company. So we try to update that all the time. And specifically about Circuit Playground, which is this Maker to Market series. Circuit Playground started out as an app. And it was an app that Colin worked on, and myself, and that was Circuit Playground. It was just an app. It was a calculator.
Yeah, how to calculate LEDs and how to Arduino pinouts and stuff.
Yeah, and we decided to call it Circuit Playground because we thought there might be something bigger long term. Eventually, made it to the Apple Store. Great reviews. I got some coverage on Hackaday. That's some of the places that we send links to. So Hackaday is one of them. That was one of the questions that we got in advance, like what are the places that you email things to. We also eventually made a Android version. So that was because
before we were at Unity. In Unity,
Yeah, and so as you can see, like Adafruit Circuit Playground started off as just an application, but it was interesting enough for people to say, oh, that's pretty cool. I like how it's a playground, it's Circuit Playground, it has circuits in it. But that was just part of this brand umbrella. And eventually we decided to start to make these characters and this is Adabot and some other characters. The blue LED, that's Billy, and she sounds like Billie Holiday. She's like, I'm so depressed. And then there's Gus, and he sounds like Feynman, the physicist. And there's Ruby, red LED, and then there's Cappy and Mo. And this is Circuit Playground. And this eventually, it started to become part of our identity. We wanted to be more than just kind of like cold, dark electronics. We wanted to be a little kind of like Tim Burton-y creepy too. Mm-hmm. And so that's why these characters are a little weird. I mean, Adabot has hobbies, and we use the characters in all sorts of content and more. We also made puppets and plushies.
Yeah, plushies are so cute.
And this is where Circuit Playground started to, no pun intended, get its legs or
leads.
And this is where you start to see some of the development of the marketing. So it was an app, and then it turned into these characters. And after it turned into these characters, we said, well, you know what? We should make sure we do the smart thing and more. So we, of course, got a trademark. So we have the trademark Circuit Playground.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was in some earlier Maker to Market videos. So make sure you get a trademark. It is important.
Do that before you start getting all your branding material, because you never know if that name is taken in a similar usage.
Yeah.
You have to reprint everything.
So, we...
or re-render, whatever.
Yeah. So, one example that I can think of, and these are friends of ours, so I think it's fine to talk about, is after launch, Spark turned their name into Particle, and they did a blog post about it. There was just lots of things called Spark. And
in Australia, there was a trademark.
Yeah. And it was confusing enough, I think, for the team to make a hard decision, which is, we got to call it something else. And so that's one of the things that, at this point, we wouldn't really want to call Circuit Playground something else. So that's really important. So it was an app. It was, and still is. We also started developing characters. And we wanted to, and this was years ago now, we wanted to have the company do more than just kind of like hobbyist electronics for a specific market. We wanted to go broader and have more of an appeal for the educator market. So instead of flying around the country and going to schools and just meeting one or two people at an event or something, we decided, well, why don't we make the content for all the educators and put it online? And one of the things that we did is we did a kids show, and we still do this, and it's called Circuit Playground. It's based on a coloring book that we did. And some of the...
This marketing's getting kind of weird.
Well, when you look at it, when it's all done, I think you'd say, like, wow, you really have been thinking about Circuit Playground for a really long time.
Yeah.
Like, what is Disney now? Well, it's all sorts of things, but it started out with a core thing, like, let's tell a good story about something. And then theme parks and high tech came out of it and all sorts of things. And so Circuit Playground's a lot like that for us. It gives us permission to tell a story about learning things, and part of that story has some hardware, and that's Circuit Playground. But in order for us to kind of get parents and younger people thinking about electronics, we wanted to have a way to talk to them. And a way to talk to them that's not selling something, it's just delighting them. And that's why we came up with Circuit Playground, the kids show. And I thought I would play, we have a episode that's pretty short, it's about 2 minutes. And I thought I'd play one of them. So you can see, part of the marketing that we do that doesn't seem like it's helping a physical good like Circuit Playground, but when you look at it, the big picture, it's like, oh, now I see.
It's like it's like a full ecosystem. It's like it's a bigger story they're telling.
Yeah. So let's watch Circuit Playground. D is for Diode.
Okay.
Hey, Woz, what you doing? Oh, hi, Adabot. I was just adding some protection to this circuit.
Interesting. Why does this circuit need protection?
Well, a circuit needs to be protected for a couple of reasons. One example is if I were to connect a battery to this incorrectly, then electrical current might flow in the wrong direction and damage some of the components.
Oh no! How do you make sure that doesn't happen?
Well, we use a diode. By placing a diode at the circuit's power input, we ensure that the current can only flow in one direction, the correct direction that we've designed the circuit to work with.
So, a diode is like a one-way street for electrons?
Exactly. The electrons can only flow through the diode in one direction, and they have a really hard time going back the other way. The stripe indicates which end of the diode acts like a wall to block the electrons.
Diode protector of circuits.
Yes, but diodes do more than just protect circuits, Adabot.
Oh, what else do they do?
Well, some diodes emit light when we pass current through them. We like to call these light-emitting diodes, or LEDs for short. Maybe you've heard of them?
LEDs? I love LEDs.
I thought so.
So that's what D stands for in LED. D stands for diode.
That's right. Well, it looks like this circuit's all done. How about we go test it out? Adabot, are you coming?
Sorry, Woz. I'm an electron in a diode. I only go in one direction. Ow. Ow.
Oh, Adabot, let's go.
Okay, so after
Woz
a
is so
while,
cute.
yeah. So that was Amanda Wozniak. She's an engineer, and she helped us out with Circuit Playground, and she also worked at Analog Electronics. So one of the things that we noticed was the parents and the relatives and the engineers that do a lot of mentoring and the people that are really interested in electronics. This is the type of content that they want to show to young people. And so having something for them, like Circuit Playground, made a lot of sense. So schools are allowed to download this, and we have a really easy way they can print out the coloring book if they want. So the 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds of 2016 are way more advanced than when we were younger. And so it's a great way to deliver the thing that they're looking for. So anyways, another site that has written about and blogged about some of our stuff, Make. So when you search for Circuit Playground, you see that they talked about the app, and then the shows, and then later on, the hardware. So you can see it's not just a bunch of different things, it's Adafruit Circuit Playground. So there's lots of things that people can explore. It's not just...
So it's a cohesive, but it is like a playground. There's it's a space, but there's different things you can do. You can use this app, you can watch these videos, you can play with hardware,
Yeah.
you can learn Arduino.
Yeah, again, if you had to think about what's Pixar, what's Disney, what are big brands, what's Apple? It's music, it's hardware, it's technology. There's lots of different things that it is. So moving right along, as you can see, we started to then use the Adafruit iconography and logos and branding and Circuit Playground on our video channels and more. So one of our places that we post all these videos, of course, is youtube.com/Adafruit. And over the last about 10 years now, we've grown the channel to 180,000 subscribers and 28 million views.
Close to 200,000 subscribers and 30 million, maybe
Yeah,
by the end of the series.
We'll get here. We'll get
Your
there
view is
soon.
counting.
Yeah, we'll get there soon. And one of the things that we learned is not everyone will necessarily help get your message out. I think that it's been a challenge being a woman engineering company. Like when we first started, it was so unusual that for people to see you doing engineering, that was kind of a distraction. And having videos in all sorts of different places where we couldn't do a good job in the chat room or whatever would have been kind of deadly because it just wouldn't have been helpful. But instead, so we built our own channel on YouTube, and we had youtube.com/Adafruit. And the success of it has has been overwhelming because now we kind of feed this monster every week. So how many videos do we usually do a month now?
Oh, we do like 30 a month. It's almost one a day. I mean, with all the live videos, the 3D Hangouts, the time-lapse Tuesday, Tony DeCola's pie quick looks and long-term projects, the Desk of Lady Ada videos, it counts as one of them.
Yeah.
So that's, 10 weeks, 10 videos. So about one a day, maybe like 20 to 30 videos a month.
Yeah, when we first started out, video storage wasn't free. Now it is.
Yeah. It's so easy now.
Yeah, HD cameras were expensive. Now they're cheap.
Yeah.
Being able to do all this live streaming, like we are now, was complicated. It's getting easier. So we also have a stat sheet on that page that I mentioned before, adafruit.com/about. And if you wanted to look at our number of videos, depending on the channel, Ask an Engineer, we've been doing this for 6 years. We have 211 videos, 8 million minutes watched. That's a lot. Show and Tell, we've been doing that. I'll get to that in a bit. 219 videos, 3.2 million minutes watched. 3D Hangouts with Noah and Pedro, 95 videos, 2 million minutes watched. 3D Printing on Thursdays, 142 videos, 6.7 million minutes watched. Collins Lab. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. So that's the overview of kind of the video channel. And as far as marketing goes, if you're an electronics company, you really do need to have a video channel, at least on YouTube. There's two search engines that are popular, Google, and the second one is YouTube. Both are from Google. So our thing was, let's have a recurring show. This is Ask an Engineer, as I mentioned.
Every Wednesday.
Yeah, before it was on Saturday nights. Adafruit was in an apartment. Now we're in a 60,000 square foot factory, so we can do it at the factory. We
get weekends back.
Yeah.
Well, except for, of course, we're doing these videos now, but.
Yeah, and then the other thing is it allowed us to be publishers. So when we had the opportunity to interview the
Dave Doherty,
president of DigiKey, we had a place that had a lot of traffic. So that's good for them and good for us.
Yeah, if we had to try to find a place that would publish this video, that would be weird. But having a destination where people are looking for electronics and maker and educational news, it fits in with what we're already doing.
Yeah.
And our umbrella is pretty large, so we can do almost anything. We can do like hacking projects or soldering projects or 3D printing or making or crafting or cosplay. It all fits into.
Yeah. So becoming a publisher, in addition to your electronic shipping desires, is a good thing to move towards, because you can't really rely on others to do that news story all the time. There's a lot of addiction to like Kickstarters because you have kind of this big bump, this you make a video. Well, you got to make a video and a sheet or a product page for everything anyways.
You know what I really like, actually? The Raspberry Pi blog is like a news source. I mean, they publish almost every single day, and they highlight the best, most interesting. And it's a mix of like projects, hardware, information, educational resources. So they're extremely good at keeping that publishing arm going. For their hardware products. They make a single board computer, but there's a lot of single board computers out there, but nobody else does the publishing that they do.
That's right. And that's key. If you're not publishing something like at least once a day, what are you really doing? And so that brings us to the blog. So I'm super old. I was the first author at Engadget, and then I had started Hackaday, and Make was my thing with the blog there. And I think that the hunger for this type of content that we have, electronics content, is still not completely served. That's why you have tons of sites out there, from the Adafruit blog to Hackaday to Make. So on the Adafruit site, we have a editorial team, the community support and publishing team, and we publish at least 30 times a day. And if you search on the site right now, you can see all the things that have something to do with Circuit Playground, from the very beginning to including this video that we're going to be doing.
This is going to be published to the tag.
Yeah, so that's kind of a way to look at measuring how often you're putting the product into the minds of the potential customers, how much you're marketing to them. And if you have reasons for them to keep thinking about it, like maybe it's the kids show, maybe it's the app, maybe it's something else, the more it can work out. The other thing is you have something like a mail form or a contact form, and people will email you. So this is our weekly segment that we do on Ask an Engineer. We also do this at State of the Fruit, our all-company meeting, and this is called From the Mailbag. So this one is from a guy named Jeff, and he's talking about how he likes buying all of our components. We're the place that he's going to buy components from now on, and he really likes the learning cartoon that we did, Circuit Playground. So again, these are all things that continue to help to tell our story.
Yeah, it's very difficult to, and I think this is one of the dangers that I see with marketing is if you start thinking about like ROI on everything, like what's the dollar amount, it's going to be really challenging to be creative because you'll be stuck with, quote unquote, tried and true. It's like it's a click-through rate. Whatever the click-through rate is, that's the value of the advertising. But
buy a TV commercial.
Exactly. It's like, these are the Nielsen numbers tell you, this is exactly what it means. And it's, you can get data from that with like coupons or with click-throughs or trackable links. But sometimes you have to do things that are creative and like, they say like think out of the box, like doing a cartoon.
Yeah.
If it's good, it'll get people to realize how cool what you're doing is.
Yeah.
It's also fun to do.
You can also look at things backwards and upside down. If Circuit Playground hardware was a successful product just instantly, it just appeared on the scene, it's an instant successful physical product, eventually you might want to do things like a cartoon series or an application on an iPhone and an Android phone and all the other things that go along with, usually that comes after. So we kind of do it before. We thought that was a neat thing to do. So next up, and I'll show some examples of this at the end, but one of the things that we like to say is good information is advertising. We also say good information is marketing. So this is the Adafruit Learn site, learn.adafruit.com. It was basically built for you, Lady Ada, probably one of the most prolific tutorial writers in the world. And this is another good example. There's Instructables, there's Hackster, there's Suzuki,
You could use a WordPress blog.
There's lots of ways to get your tutorials out. You started doing tutorials first on
a wiki.
But you also
a wiki.
You also use Instructables.
I used it. I did use Instructables a little bit, but eventually I did use a wiki, and you can get pretty far with the wiki. Eventually, if once you get to maintaining more than 50 tutorials, it is quite annoying. But if you only have to do one or two products, or if you do have a wide range of people who are editing and updating, a wiki can be perfectly fine. They can be skinned to look quite nice.
So just some results and more. You can look at our stats page, but there's millions of views on our learning guides. In fact, the learning guides and the way they're made is one of the biggest revenue drivers for us. So the marketing of the products is handled by the information surrounding the product. We also do videos about the products. And that's where we have how to use it. And it's also all the things that people search online, Google most of the time. And that'll take them to the learning guide. And then somewhere around there is a buy button. And there's also add all to cart if you wanted to do a project. So another example is if you just search on Learn, you can see all of the Circuit Playground guides. So we have Circuit Playground from Ada, Circuit Playground Lesson 0, we have our kids show videos, and then we have things like the Circuit Playground wearable tutorial. So we got stuff like that. So as you can see, the store is closely tied to the learning, which is closely tied to a video. And people may have heard of the show, and when they search for that, maybe they're going to discover that there's also other things like a product called Circuit Playground. So again, it's just casting out a bigger net. And one of the things that you've recently worked on is the fritzing diagrams.
Yeah.
So why have you been doing these, Lady? This seems like a complete waste of time. Why would you draw pretty pictures of hardware?
Well, one of the things it does take a little bit of effort to make these lovely drawings, but once they're done, and if you have a maker product, you should absolutely generate one. It'll make your documentation much easier, and will also encourage other people to do documentation that uses fritzing, which is an open source free software for doing electronics diagramming. and you can actually make electrical connections and schematics. And so if when we do a book, all of the diagramming will be really easy to do because we will already have these parts and pieces. And I've noticed that if you don't have a fritzing diagram, people's diagrams tend to be just like a photo of their desk, and it's usually a little bit messy. It's hard to see what's going on. And so with electronics, I think, schematics, of course, are the best diagram, but for educational content, a diagram that is like, skeuomorphic, like you see the wire and that's where the wire goes, that's the best way that I found to teach people how to hook something up and connect it.
Okay, so let's recap. If you have a product, good idea to put your code on GitHub.
Go on GitHub.
Good idea to
put the PCB files on GitHub too.
have a PCB files if you're doing
And
open source hardware.
and publish a schematic. Even if
Yeah.
you're not doing open source hardware, remember the schematic is non-protectable.
Yeah.
So you might as well publish a schematic.
May as well help folks out.
Yeah.
Cuts your support burden down. We'll talk about that in future videos. Do a fritzing diagram if you want people to use it in illustrations and to train others.
Yeah, I can even show using it in fritzing later if you want.
Product page with photos. A learning guide so people can actually use it.
Yes.
And maybe
Multiple guides if
Yeah.
possible.
And so these are just some of the things. We're racking it up.
See, it's not just one product. It's like, before you know it, you're like doing 6 things.
Yeah. Well, you're a publishing
But you're a
empire.
publisher, yeah.
Yeah. So that brings us to the types of content. So one of the cool things is if you take good photos and you don't worry about things like watermarking, because it just makes
Yeah.
photos look terrible.
Yeah.
If you just take great photos that have a style, that are standalone, those photos can go other places besides your own site. So we want to make sure the Adafruit site is amazing and beautiful, but we also know people hang out on Instagram, they hang out on Facebook, they hang out on Google+, they hang out on whatever else, Twitter, for instance. Great place to argue. So here's our Instagram profile. Right now we're up to 28,000 followers. I'm going to enjoy looking back at this video like a year from now and seeing where we're at, but we have a presence in all areas of the matrix. And so we make sure. And so for Instagram, if you search for Circuit Playground, you can see not only some of our photos, but then photos that other people have tagged. And aha, this is where things get interesting. So if you market effectively, people will tag something with your brand, and you'll be able to search for it, and you can start to see the results. Like if you do a launch, where are all the places that you're seeing it on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Google+. There's other ones. There's Pinterest, and there's Snapchat, and there's other things. Some of those are harder to find on the web, and it's a little unfortunate that the web is getting more siloed. But there's still places, like some RSS stuff doesn't work anymore. Instagram used to allow you to have a way to see what was tagged and get an RSS feed. They kind of stopped that. And so it's getting harder as a marketer to see where some of this stuff is. But what we found is if you just take amazing photos, amazing videos, and put them on these places, people share them and tag them. They do a little bit of your footwork for you, and that's what you want. So here's our Twitter profile. Twitter, we are up to 109,000 followers. That's pretty significant. That's pretty up there for an electronics company. And one of the things you'll start to notice is we have our team members, and we have Made in New York. So a lot of the marketing that...
Look at Vance and Michelle. Don't they look badass?
Yeah, they look cool. They make Circuit
They
Playground.
look cool. They do the manufacturing.
Yeah. So one of the things that you'll probably notice that is one of our themes is we always like to be more than just an electronics company. We like to have a cause. And we think location is something that you can get behind, like being a New Yorker and having manufacturing in New York is a fun story to talk about because it's very unusual and it's very difficult. And so we like to not only show that we are able to do it, but show some of the people that do it. So our Twitter profile is some of the people who work at Adafruit. And then the other neat thing about Twitter is you can search for things like Circuit Playground. And so what I did is I did this little screen capture movie, and you can see all of the tweets and retweets of Circuit Playground. Some of them are from this video series. Some of them are little videos that people are making right out of the box. There's a yo-yo. We'll talk about that soon. Someone made a 3D printed yo-yo.
Oh, cosplay project. Yeah, all sorts of fun stuff.
Cosplay project. And because Twitter is evolving, there's videos. They had animated GIFs, and those eventually turned into videos. Pokemon comes out. Now there's a bunch of Circuit Playground Pokemon stuff. And so you can see that there's a two-way relationship with what you do if you do a good job. And one of the things that we try to do is put as much interesting content out there. Not just like, here's our logo. It's here's how we make the stuff. And that's what people like to see. They like to know who makes the things, and they like to know how it's made. And in this global market, people like to know that there's electronics made in the United States by some of these people. So that's just some of the, you could scroll all day.
Yeah, no, it's true.
And so, I watch how you use Twitter. You're looking for ideas, and you're also basically looking at a lot of real-time feedback on a new product launch. So you'll see people getting Circuit Playground. And
Yeah, what are they doing? The yo-yo idea was an interesting project
Yeah.
I'd never thought of, and I was like, "Ooh, that's a good idea." Like people are being more creative than I would be on my own, and that's one of the fun things about doing open source hardware and getting doing a launch of a product. Especially even a developer edition, you'll get people coming up with their ideas and then sharing them. And if you do fun electronics and you have a culture of sharing, then you're going to get all this good feedback from people.
Yeah. Okay. So next up, some of the questions that we got is like, what do you do with Facebook? Well, with Facebook, it's mostly a placeholder for us. We do try to do things there. The Facebook platform is just getting more interesting for us now. You can do live video. There's more metrics that you can do. We don't do any advertising yet. We're probably going to do some experiments. We'll see how that goes. But it was definitely more of a place where you were connecting with friends from high school and stuff like that. And for a company, we always thought that was a little weird. But now it's moving towards people's news feeds, and it's moving towards a video production platform. So that's interesting for us because our content is heavy. It has lots of multimedia and more. So we're starting to see a lot of people watch our videos through Facebook. So we're there. Google Plus was one of them that it's a social network that Google pushed really hard on. And this is our Adafruit page. We have 2.1 million followers and 285 million views. Also, here's the theme again, made in New York. Some of the people who make the electronics there.
We change out these photos. We keep it fresh. It's not one photo forever.
Yeah.
Like there's themes and events, and like Maker Faire will probably change it, and then the holidays we sometimes change it. And,
Twitter will change the graphics once a week or more. Our homepage, we change the graphics 5 times a day. It's on a schedule. So that's the other thing, is if you have reasons for people to come back to your site, if you're doing something different and new and unique, maybe they will. If you don't, there's no reason. We started a Google Plus community, and we didn't call it Adafruit. We call it Makers, Hackers, Artists, and Engineers. And we have over 117,000 people there. And it's just people showing and sharing their projects. We go in there and make sure that there's no crummy comments or cursing or anything bad or spam. And it's just been running on its own. And we thought that was neat. You can see the Leda bot. And then you have your own personal page, and you have 4 million followers and 51 million views. So in case you're wondering, because a lot of people have asked, is there a lot of people interested in this type of content? Yep, there is. There is
that lovely drawing of Geordie LaForge.
Yeah, that was from our Star Trek editorial that we're doing over the last few weeks. And so that's just a way for people to see what Limor is personally interested in. If you have a cool engineer or a cool person at your company that's doing interesting things, your staff probably is too, if they're interested in publishing about their experiences and more, it's a great way to market. It's a great way to share a story. And then the other thing is just continuing along. So when you have built up this many followers and views, when you have a video, you'll get more reactions, more sharing. So here's another Circuit Playground video that we did. This is 3D printing plus Circuit Playground. So
Keep it fresh.
Let's watch that.
Circuit Playground is our new all-in-one board aimed towards education and beginners. It features 10 NeoPixel LEDs, a motion sensor, a temperature sensor, mini speaker, sound sensor, a light sensor, 2 buttons, and a switch. We think it's a great way to practice programming on real hardware with no soldering or sewing required. The onboard Atmega32U4 processor is Arduino compatible, so you can program it with the Arduino IDE and upload your code via micro USB. It also has a JST connector, so you can plug in a battery to make your projects portable. To make it a wearable, we designed and 3D printed a simple bumper and a 2-piece strap so we can wear it on our wrist. NinjaFlex filament is really flexible material and it's perfect for strong and super flexible projects. The straps are inserted into slots on the bumper and each strap has an extended end to act as a stopper. One strap has holes for different size wrists and the other one has a little nub so we can snap the two together. A small LiPo battery can be tucked away in between the straps or underneath the board. We designed the parts in Autodesk Fusion 360 with user parameters, so anybody can easily change the length or width of the straps. The Pokemon Go project by Richard Albrighton turned Circuit Playground into a team badge. NeoPixels light up and the motion sensor detects movement and flashes them white. You can also cycle through team colors using the onboard button. There's tons of other projects you can make with Circuit Playground, and we have a playlist full of project ideas and tutorials. So be sure to check them out and subscribe for more projects from Adafruit.
Okay, so that was one of the videos where we combined Circuit Playground, the hardware,
Yeah.
our video properties, our learning guides, and then 3D printing. And just a little sidetrack on this. So 3D printing, as far as like making 3D printers, we won't do.
Yeah.
What was that?
You're on my computer. I'm like talking to my
I'm in your
computer.
computer.
Yeah.
3D printing is a tough business. We won't be doing a 3D printer, but we'll sell accessories. We'll have the best 3D printers, and we'll have the best projects that you can take with you. And so that's why we like wearable 3D printed projects and something like Circuit Playground, because you'll go somewhere and you'll show someone, look, I know 3D printing, I know electronics, look at this cool thing lighting up. Where'd you get that? Oh, it's this thing, Circuit Playground. Oh, really? Do you have anything for kids? Yeah, they also have a kid show, Circuit Playground. Oh, neat.
Another thing that's, of course, you know, if turns out that this wearable 3D printed thing is a hit and people really like it, we can just get it injection molded and manufactured. So this can be part of your research and development process as well.
Yeah. So speaking of. Yeah, so what had happened was, if you noticed on that Twitter video, if you saw this yo-yo thing, well,
the yo-yo's cool.
Morgan stopped by on Show and Tell a few days ago, and she showed off her cool project. And what is Show and Tell? Well,
I'm glad you asked.
I'm glad you asked. Show and Tell, this is a relatively new show for us, even though it's been going on for like 5 years now. We do this every Wednesday now at 7:30, and anyone in the world can show and share their projects to Lady Ada. And you. Yeah, well,
and our guests.
I'm just operating cameras.
Okay.
So the neat thing about it is we get a lot of ideas that we normally wouldn't, and we meet a lot of people that maybe we'll even hire. And that's one of the things, like, part of marketing is attracting talent. And how do you get in touch with the people that want to do cool stuff with you? They also might end up purchasing some of your electronics if you're an electronics company, which is this series about. So Morgan showed up on the Show and Tell and showed a 3D printed project and Circuit Playground, doing all the things that we really like, 3D printing with electronics. And so what I thought I would do is just play her segment from Show and Tell. And this just happened. So you know, one of the things when I was in the room with marketers is like, how do we get people to show that they bought this thing and become brand ambassadors? Well, maybe if
that's a good impression. For a moment, I was horrified.
Yeah. By the way, this isn't an alcoholic beverage. This isn't that type of Mad Men advertising show. This is just hibiscus tea. It's just in a cool. It's in a. By the way, like this this company does an excellent job marketing because they're like, oh, you can put it in a bag. Anyways.
It looks cool.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. I should get that out of the way because there'll be like comments like, oh, like drunk advertising show. Okay, so which is probably not a bad idea. Like drunk history.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but most marketers are drunk.
Yeah, I was gonna say that kind of goes with the territory. Unfortunately, so Morgan showed up and she showed her project. So take it away.
Hi, Morgan.
Mike and shows project.
Look at those cool bins.
Yeah.
Cool
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a hoarder. So quick project here. It's just a 3D print. I made
saw this on, you tweeted it or something recently?
This is so cool.
Yeah.
I don't want to ruin it. So.
Yeah, it's just a circuit playground. Actually, 2 of them, and then I created these cases for it, and it's the yo-yo. So it's a really easy print, just 2 prints, a left and a right, and they just have embedded hardware.
Hold it up a little bit.
Yeah, can you hold it? Okay,
Yeah, there you go.
Yep, and so you can just press in the hardware while it's warm. It works. I'm not very good at yo-yoing, but hey, it's worth a shot. And then I figure there's all sorts of cool programming things you could do with it. Yeah, I mean, you could use the accelerometer. You could do stuff with music, with tones. Yeah, I mean, I was planning to use a different camera, but that didn't seem to come through. So we'll see if I can.
Okay.
But
that's cool. Yay!
It works.
I loved yo-yos as a kid. I don't know why I collected yo-yos, but
Yeah, me too.
everybody did.
Yeah, they're super fun. Like I said, that's an easy print. Another one is I did these little bumpers. A battery fits right in there, and it snaps right onto this piece here, and then the tabs snap onto the circuit playground. So it's really secure. If you shake it really hard, nothing comes out, and you're going to relieve the strain on your wires, which is really nice. There's cutouts for everything. So another nice way to keep your projects organized. So.
Wow.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Morgan, and thank you for showing. These are my favorite projects where you take 3D printing and you take electronics, and then you do a project that you can show others. You know, you can bring it out into the world, and that's like a yo-yo's perfect.
You know what's funny? I never even thought it's like, oh, it's round, it's wearable. I never even thought it could be a yo-yo, but then I saw the picture on Twitter, and I'm like, oh my God, that is such a good idea because you've got this sensor and the lights, and it's like you could do tricks at night, and it'd be so
kids are gonna love
cool.
this. So we'll figure out ways to spread the word about your project more.
Thank you.
So email support@adafruit.com. We'll send you an SC on the show and tell sticker.
Sweet, thanks.
And thank you so much, Morgan.
Yay, yo-yo.
Now, Pedro, you may want to start another project with a yo-yo thing.
Collab.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So as you can see, one of the neat things about putting out your files is people can then download the files and then do things like make interfaces or make what?
Cosplay and yo-yos and enclosures, and she made these clips.
Yeah.
So this is really neat to see people take this idea and go far with it.
Yeah. So another benefit, of course, of putting all your stuff on GitHub and all these tutorials and all these videos and all these 3D files is customers or community or audience or fans will extend your brand, extend your marketing to places that maybe you don't have time to get to, or you just didn't even think of yet. So that's why we do show and tell. One is to get good ideas. Another is to have a place for people to show their stuff. Another is a place to maybe meet people we want to work with. But most of all, it's a safe place online, which is pretty rare, where anyone can show and share their project. You know, it is the safest place, and we send you a sticker.
It's a lovely sticker.
We send you an as seen on the show and tell sticker. So
yeah, this is just a developer edition too. We haven't even really So this is kind of neat.
Speaking
to see developers do stuff.
Here is our product page. So on the marketing side, and a lot of this stuff I'm just repeating what the Lady Ada commandments.
Yeah.
So we do LEDs, and you have to show the product lit up.
You do.
Are your products lit?
We have it's actually usually an animated GIF, but this is. Sorry.
That's right.
Sorry, I don't want to ruin your day.
So that's one of the other things. If you do electronics and they light up, you gotta show.
Or if it does something, it's a robotics or interfaces or whatever.
Yeah. So
check this out. You know exactly what this does now.
Yeah. So that's important, and we also have a landing page, which has more text and great photos, and it shows a little bit of the story about what Circuit Playground is. It has a human hand, so you can see how big it is. That's pretty cool. Before, when we were talking about photos, so these are uniquely Adafruit photos. You don't have to watermark these. It's clear that it's Adafruit. And that's one of the things that we always encourage people to, like, oh, like I want to take good photos. Great, you should. Get a style, though. Put things in the photos that are uniquely yours, and don't worry about putting your logo all over the photos, like watermarks. Let the product speak for themselves. This is our new product page, adafruit.com/new. Lots of people we know, this is their homepage because we have a lot of new products. And we update this, sometimes a dozen times a week.
Yeah.
It has all of our new products. And this is one of the things that we go over in Ask an Engineer every week. We have the new product section. And because we have so many people watching Ask an Engineer, in addition to the news and questions we answer, we have new products. And so what I thought I would do is I did a clip from when we launched Circuit Playground earlier in the year. And it's 9 minutes long, so it's a little long, but I wanted to show what we do when we launch a product. So this is part of an hour-long show, this clip is from, and it's when we launched Circuit Playground. And so
Keep it casual.
It'll give you an idea of how we show it live and show what something can do, and kind of tell the story behind it. So here we go. The show, besides you, Lady Ada, this week it's here. Circuit Playground.
Wow, I finished it. We had the PCBs for a bit, but I actually got them done. So we did our first batch of about 200 Circuit Playgrounds, and these are the developer edition. So we've already come up with some minor tweaks to like the firmware and maybe even some hardware adjustments for the final edition. So this is not the final public release.
Yeah.
I'm just letting people know this is still the developer edition. Is for people who know a little bit of Arduino, who know how to use the Arduino IDE, who, if I tell them, hey, we have a Fermata beta, want to upload it and try it out with your, Node.js program or your JavaScript, or try connecting it to Minecraft, you'll be like, yeah, that sounds cool. I know how to do some Python code or compiling or editing as necessary. We don't have a lot of projects for it yet. We only have the main tutorial. We will have a lot of projects, but we're hoping to get these into the hands of people who like building stuff, like building wearables, sensor projects. I just want to give people an introductory about why it's called the Developer Edition.
Yeah, and one thing.
What is it?
Yeah, and one thing that I want to mention about it being the Developer Edition and what your potential impact can be if you were to pick up one of these and do some cool projects with it. So I can say for sure 100% that these will be in the hands of lots and lots of kids in the USA first and then around the world. And if you have projects or ideas, or if you see code that needs to be updated or fixed, or any type of contribution you want to make to this project, we have a lot of big plans. We're going to be announcing a lot of stuff with this, and there are gigantic educational efforts, and they needed some type of educational platform that was low cost, high performance, no soldering, works with all different types of online stuff, and we have it. And so just know that you're part of something bigger when you do stuff with Circuit Playground.
Yeah, this is kind of.
That's why we're calling it Developer Edition.
This is but it is pretty much it's like the final, and basically it's a round wearable board. You don't have to wear it, but it's designed so you could wear it if you want to. It's round. There's no sharp edges and no snagging components, and it's an all-in-one Arduino compatible. It's a lot like our Flora board that was very popular for wearables.
Yeah.
It's a little bit bigger. But because it's a little bit bigger, it has a lot of stuff built in. So we added 10 RGB LEDs. So it's just doing a little rainbow pattern, but every LED can be any color you want. So there are 10 NeoPixels built in. It has a left and right push button. I'll show this on the overhead too. It has a slide switch, so you can detect slide switching. It has a light sensor. It has a temperature sensor.
Go for it.
Oh, sorry, I won't show it off. Yeah, so there's 10, I'll plug it in even. There's 10 NeoPixels. Oh, turn off the buzzer. There's 10 NeoPixels that you can control to light them up in rainbow colors as you like. There's a light sensor over here, the little eyeball, so it's light sensing. There's a temperature sensor. It's a thermistor, but it's actually quite good. We add some code for you already, so you can just ask it what's the temperature. It'll give you the temperature in Celsius. There is a sound sensor over here. There's a little ear next to it, and so it can do fast Fourier transforms or listen to audio, sound pressure level with some filtering. There's 2 buttons, left and right push buttons for detecting presses. There's a buzzer, there's a little note thing. So there's a magnetic buzzer that can play tones, and if I switch this, it will turn on the magnetic buzzer, and it'll make little tones to let you know that it's working. You program it over USB, and it uses an Atmega 32U4, which is an Arduino compatible chip. It has a bootloader that works with the Arduino IDE. And when you plug it in, you can upload code to it, you can communicate to it, and you can also turn it into a keyboard or mouse, which is kind of neat. So you can have this act like a keyboard or mouse if you'd like, or a MIDI device. There's also an accelerometer in the center. This little chip right here is a triple axis accelerometer. So it can detect tilt and motion, and like if you tap it or double tap it, it can detect that as well. And it has these, on the outside, it has these pads that you can connect with an alligator clip. So you have access to power and ground, and you have the hardware pins that are really valuable, like I2C and UART and analog digital pins, but you can also use them just as GPIO pins or capacitive touch pins. All 8 of these pins can be used for capacitive touch. It has a library built into it that can do that. And then you can power it over a battery if you like, or power it over USB. It doesn't have a LiPo charger on purpose because I don't want people to try to charge LiPo batteries while they're wearing it or unattended. I thought I wanted to make this as kid-friendly as possible.
Yeah, and flip it over. So it's a nice font and silk, but
done by Phil B.
FCC and CE and RoHS, and that's important to us because this is going into schools, and we don't necessarily believe that all things need to be made in the USA, but we're proud to say this is made in the USA,
Yay.
made in New York. It's open source. It's FCC, it's CE, and this is going to be in the hands of a lot of kids, and we hope this helps accelerate all of the computer science for all ideas and efforts that lots of companies have. Every week you hear about more money being thrown at ways to get more and more kids coding, and physical computing is one of the best ways. I believe it is the best way to get there. Yeah.
And then on the back, if you're an advanced hacker, these are the ISP pins. So if you want to reprogram the chip, go for it. We release all the open source code and stuff. It's just a bootloader that we put on the floor. It's the same bootloader.
Yeah.
But if you want to program the chip directly, go to town. But this is as much stuff as I could pack into the chip. And I wanted to add more, but we actually had to, we did a bunch of streams where we talked about trade-offs, of like what we could add and how much it costs and like what complexity and shape and size. And so, I definitely wanted to add, buttons and a switch, because I thought like that's really handy because those are very basic elements. And I thought having a sound sensor and a buzzer is cool because it gives it a lot of interactivity.
Yeah.
And a temperature sensor and a light sensor are the simplest and lowest cost of sensors. I mean, basically, a light sensor costs 5 cents and a thermistor costs like 2 cents. So I was like, it's basically free.
Well, how much is this? It sounds like it's going to be expensive when you talk about all of these things, Lady Ada. How much is it?
$99. No, it's going to be $20.
Wow.
So I'm trying to make this.
I wish we would have talked about that before you announced it, because we can't go back on that now. So it's going to be $20.
It's $20.
Wow. Okay.
It's $20. I thought the price. It has to be $19.95, and so. A lot of choices were made. I had to get the accelerometer. It's a really nice accelerometer that we made a breakout for a few months ago, partially to make sure that this was a good one. But it's like a 70-cent accelerometer, but it has triple access and it has tap detection, and that's really cool. And the NeoPixels, they're expensive, but I really wanted to have color and
these
output.
are the NeoPixels that have the black around them.
Yeah, they're cool. They're the black plastic ones. So they're super goth. But
and the JSD connector is black too.
It's black too. We made it as goth as possible.
Oh, if Edward Scissorhands' inventor dad still was around, this would be working on. He'd be working on these. He'd be making these for kids.
He'd be making these.
Yeah. Anyways, and what's cool is a kid can watch the Circuit Playground episodes. They can use the Circuit Playground app, and then they can eventually get the Circuit Playground device.
Yeah, and I'm already thinking about like how am I going to have add-ons like little shields that screw in with standoffs, like metal standoffs, so you can add like an OLED display maybe, or other sensors, or maybe like Bluetooth Low Energy or Wi-Fi. Like I'm starting to think about it. Like it might be something that plugs onto the back and then you attach through these holes, like it snaps into place to add Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. But I think this is a pretty good start. Like I already have Tony DeCole. I remember he visited back then. That was like Maker Faire. That was in September, and we started drafting ideas for this. I mean, it took a while to get it to this point, but trying to get as many projects as possible that people like to build, and making sure that this hardware can use it. So like,
we need to look back a year from now, all the things that's happening with Circuit Playground.
Yeah, I think 1 year from now we'll look back and we'll be like, wow, we have like 50 tutorials. So there's going to be a lot of recreations. Like the Amplify project is a project that we can redo with this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Flora projects, maybe like the Sparkle Skirt. These are projects that you can do using this all-in-one board. That's what I tried to do, the most popular tutorials, but in a board that is $20. So,
Gothtronics, it's here, it's happening. Gothtronics.
This is what I'm here for. This is my job. So,
all right, Lady Ada. So that was our launch.
Yeah.
And we do live demos like that every single week. So we think that's important. There's something special about live. Mm-hmm. And it showed the product. You saw our excitement.
Yeah.
The engineer who worked on it.
Answer live questions.
Talked about it.
People are like, what kind of battery? They afterwards at the end of the show we also take more questions. So it's a good time to get feedback from people.
Yeah, and on a very tactical note, you're probably saying, or maybe someone's saying, does Ask an Engineer really move product? Does it help you? Well, we do a discount code every Wednesday night, and over the last 7 years or so, we look at how much did people save, how much did they buy, and what's the kind of halo effect of the sales during that time period, because it's a code that only works from the time of the show up until about midnight. And it's been worth millions of dollars, straight up. That code is responsible for millions of dollars of revenue for Adafruit over the years. So it's worth it. And the production of it is the people who work there. It's us. And then we have our team that makes content and videos and products and more. And speaking of, that's one of the things that people really like to see. They like to see who makes the things and more. So here is Circuit Playground time lapse. There's music going on, so.
Making things. There they go. Maybe in the next video we'll talk more about these machines.
Well. So we're using new equipment. You noticed that was a spherical camera. We have some different cameras. One of the things about marketing is in the modern day now, there's lots of different tools. There's 360 cameras. Do a 360 tour of your factory or wherever you're at, your hackerspace, if you want to attract people to come visit. One of the things that we like to do is, this is neat. This is the box that this 360 camera came in. So you can look at the fab video that we did, the fabrication manufacturing video on YouTube, and if you put it in cardboard mode and use cardboard, you can be in the Adafruit factory.
I know, and it works.
We don't do tours, so this is kind of nice.
That's the next best thing.
Yeah, and so in addition to a lot of people wanting to talk to Lady Ada and talk to the engineer behind some of these products, they want to see how it's made. They see some of the staff members. They want to see some of the things. So this is a stencil.
Yep.
This is
That's the circuit stencil that we use.
This is the stencil, and the conductive paste gets pushed through this with a big robot that we have.
Yay, big
robot friend.
Robot friend.
And all sorts of photos we take, and we show how things are made. Here it is before they get popped out of the PCBs.
Ooh.
We show the tester.
Yeah, we demoed that 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
That's the first tester. So it's the prototype tester we made on the other mill.
Yeah. And then we have other testers.
This is the fancy tester.
This is a fancy tester. And you're probably saying,
that's fancy.
Geez, it'd be really great to have some type of cool close-up. And see, all this stuff is really interesting, and all this stuff works great on Instagram, and it works great on Twitter. Look at this. There was a show called How It's Made.
Yeah.
But the only thing about How It's Made that wasn't cool is there was no buy button at the end, so you could support the cool company that just showed you how garden hoses was made.
These are garden hoses. They're like tennis balls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Look at
this
this.
is test procedure.
Yeah, super cool. Stacks of Circuit Playground.
Yep, these are the PCBs.
Yeah.
Ready to load in. That's how many we make at a time.
We even do videos of our optical inspection book. This is visual gold. This is what the board should look like when they're all done. Our photos that we take of the products are so good, we can use those as part of our inspection process.
Check chip orientation, check
All
the
sorts of
module,
things.
check markings.
Yeah.
All that stuff you can do.
Robots and vision do a good job, but people,
Well,
we're still pretty good at it.
You really only have to check the first one. If you know,
Visual
parts are going to be
gold.
backwards in the wheel.
Yeah.
So once you check one, you're good to go.
Yeah. Now, the next thing is, with a product like Circuit Playground, I just wear it all the time. So here I am at Hope with John Janier. He's
Fashionable.
Yeah.
Both of you.
Here's you and Waz.
Drinking.
She's wearing one.
Yeah, we just used the color sensor on my hair, so it's pink.
Here's Tony Nicole at a wedding, showing everybody Circuit Playground.
Yeah, good for all sorts of events.
Yeah.
Hacker drinking, weddings, bar mitzvahs,
Yeah.
Pokemon Go, anything, whatever.
One will be at my funeral.
I know.
So there's all sorts of things that you can do if you have a product like this that you can bring out into the world, because it's delightful, it's fun. Look at that thing, it's blinking while you're talking. That's kind of neat. So that's why we like the 3D printing projects. That's why we like some of the other projects that kind of get the thing out of the basement.
Mm-hmm.
Like 3D printers are one of those ones where if you're just printing like little trinkets, not our Adafruit trinket, but like, you know,
Little teapots. Or
little teapots, like,
but non-useful teapots, like plastic teapots.
yeah, like that doesn't necessarily get more people involved in 3D printing. You have to either get it online, or if you're going to go out, get it out in the world. So speaking of, if you look at Google, which like it or not, Google is how a lot of people get their information. So you have to be smart about how you get your information out there, so Google eats it up. So what we do, and
Google is a robot.
yeah, so what we do is a few things. First up, if you search for the word Arduino on Google, you'll see a few interesting things. First up, Arduino.cc comes up first.
Good.
Then the Arduino Twitter,
Good.
Arduino Wikipedia,
Good.
some Arduino in the news, and then the Adafruit Arduino product page and the Adafruit tutorials. So if you type like Learn Arduino, you see an ad by lynda.com, and they pay for that. And then you see Arduino tutorials, and then Learn Arduino on Adafruit, and then Learn Arduino on the original Lady Ada tutorials. So the more tutorials you put out, if someone's looking for Arduino, they're probably going to run into, it looks like lynda.com, it looks like Arduino the company, and it looks like Adafruit. So we've been doing this for so long, that's why Google has indexed us. But there's also other things you can do. Here's the AdWords that we do. So these are just some of the campaigns. You can get an idea of some of the clicks, 76,000, 68,000, 39,000. And depending on what type of campaign we're doing, you see New, Pixel, BeagleBone, Raspberry Pi, Arduino Test. A lot of my old ones are called Test. What do you do? Like Test 1 and Test 2.
Final, new, draft, 8.
You know what lasts really long? Test 3.
Yeah, Test 3 worked out.
And if you search on YouTube for Circuit Playground, you can see Arrow is advertising, and then you see manufacturing software is advertising, and then you see our videos underneath there. You can also look for Arduino.
So it's a mix of, like, you know, you can pay for advertisement and for placement, which is of course a very valid way of doing it, but you can also make
there's organic search and
excellent
then pay for it.
content, and so even if you're, you know, you'll be very high up, even if you're right below the paid content, but you're still going to be on the front page.
You're still there. Next up, go on Google and search for Circuit Playground. You can see Mouser's advertising, DigiKey's advertising, Adafruit's advertising. So this whole page has all these cool things that you can do. There's some organic search, some paid for search. Now, one of the things that if you notice on our store, there's a little button at the bottom. It says Google Trusted Stores. This was tough to do. It's complicated. There's a lot of things that you have to do because they don't let everyone into this program. You actually have to have a store with lots of great feedback. They wait for a while and see how good your customer service is. So if you go and you look at the little thing at the bottom of our page and then click it, we have over 10,000 5-star reviews. Sorry, 16,000 pretty much altogether. But it's mostly 5-star, and it's 10,000 plus reviews. And they're usually, even when it's averaged out, 4.9 out of 5 stars.
Good. Looks good.
So that's helped out a lot too.
Sometimes with the 1-star review, it's like they don't have a store. And I'm like, well, okay, that's not like...
Yeah, no, everyone is welcome to say what they want.
But we still have, 10,000 5
Yeah,
stars.
and so a form of marketing is this. People say, wow, it's a really good start. Like 10,000 5-star reviews, can't be wrong. And then if you look in Google Shopping, I just searched for NeoPixels, you can see some of our products turn up. And then other vendors also have NeoPixels and more. So that's some of the online stuff. So you saw some of the content we make, how Google finds it, how YouTube finds it, and then there's organic search, and then there's paid for search. Showed some of the clicks, showed some of the ways that we do things with events. We do it a little different. We'll have NeoPixels with us. Networking, because these are some of the things that we wanted to touch on. It's more about the online space for us that scales us better. We can do one video and hundreds of thousands of people around the world can watch it. You fly to one conference and maybe only 30 or 40 people watch it, even if they say they're going to record it. It
rarely is recorded.
It doesn't really happen, yeah. And maybe in the future it will, but all the times that we've wanted to see the video or whatever, sometimes they play music in between the sessions, and you're not allowed to do that. There's all sorts of problems with it. So basically, we think publishing your own content on your own site, putting videos in all the places that make sense, all these great photos, is a good form of marketing. Is working out for us. And we're an electronics company, but we're not too much different than every electronic company. We're all selling components and hardware and parts. Just like how you do it is maybe that's what marketing ultimately is. It's the tiny differences between the two.
Yeah.
So okay.
I'm learning a lot. Wow. Now I know what
this
you do
is
all
what
day.
you told me to do. You're like, go make sure people buy this stuff. So next up, because we're going to get asked, we don't really do packaging with Circuit Playground, but here's some ideas and examples that we're doing with AdaBox, our subscription service. You'll notice this on our site soon. We also did packaging for Metro. We wanted to have a really cool aesthetic. This is some of the earliest packaging that we did a long time ago where it was just a sticker on a box. And then the other thing, and this is most recent, and I screenshotted this a day ago. People will take a photo on Twitter of our black bubble envelopes, padded envelopes, with the Adafruit logo. So it got to the point where it was cheaper for us to get custom-made packaging.
Because we were buying thousands at a time.
Yeah.
We could just get it custom made.
Yeah, and we also, this tweet sums up a lot of things. Friday is Pi Day. Thanks, Adafruit. Well, what we did is we had an editorial effort to make Friday Pi Day. So on Friday Pi Day, let me go this way. There you go.
No, sorry.
Now you're back. Look at you.
I was leaning in.
Yeah, lean in. You should read a book, Leaning In. There's a book called Lean In.
I know.
Yeah. So what we've done is we have an editorial calendar. So Mondays has certain things.
Manufacturing
Monday. Yeah, we have
Time-lapse Tuesday.
Time-lapse Tuesday.
Tutorial Tuesday.
Yeah, Wednesday we had wearables. On Thursday we have 3D printing. On Friday. So we have all this stuff.
Fritzing Friday.
Yeah, back in the day in a gadget, that's one of the places I started this. I did How To Tuesday. And How To Tuesday.
You had like you had like Watch Wednesday.
I had Watch This Wednesday, which was Wearables Wednesday. I've been doing Wearable Wednesday for like 20 years now. Yeah, and like I did it with Engadget and I did it with Becky. And so with the editorial calendar helps you make decisions, but also people are like, oh, cool, it's Pi Day, it's Friday, here's Adafruit, here's my cool package. And if you look at the branding, it doesn't say Adafruit anywhere, it just has a logo, but the logo means something. So if you look at some of the iconic ones, there's the Mickey Mouse and Apple and Nike and the swoosh, there's a lot of logos. When you see it, you know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And so the Adafruit flower is similar. So that's some of the things that we do. Sometimes I've noticed people kind of sum up what you're doing without you having to even say it.
That's the best.
That's
Save
the best.
me from the
yeah.
effort.
And so there was a tweet. If you search for Google and do the specific search with a quote, so it's looking just for the exact match, do a search for the following. This is good information is marketing. This is from Matt Pinner. back in 2010. And he...
This was like his first tweet. He joined in December 2010.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
This is also around the time we did that video.
That's right. And so this is back in the day. This is like 6 years ago. And where is he quoting us from? Well, this is when we did the Connect project. And so what we did is we offered a bounty for anyone who wanted to take some of the open source drivers, and like Microsoft was going to sue us and it was going to be crazy and all that. And then they were threatening us, and then we raised it to 2,000, and they threatened us again, and we raised it again. And the cool part was everyone heard about Adafruit because of this. This was 6 years ago. We were a tiny company. We weren't even like up to the $10 million market. Yeah.
We were at $2 million.
Yeah, we were a tiny company. But where he saw this quote was in the comments that I replied. This person said, "It really seems that $3,000 was the best marketing money you could have ever spent." And we said the $3,000 went to Hector the winner, $2,000 went to the EFF, $5K total. We actually gave some to the EFF and Hector, the person who helped us with the open source drivers. And then I put good information as marketing. So that's where that came from. So if you do that exact search on the web, this is the only hit that comes up, and that's where Matt saw it. So it's
December 2010.
Yeah. So
that was a good Christmas.
Yeah.
Because it was coming out. It was a Christmas release. It was for the holidays.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And then if you search for quote good information as advertising, you'll see this blog post that we made. And this blog post says, increasing sales by answering customers' questions, good information is advertising, a revolutionary marketing strategy, answering your own customers' questions. So this person who does pools,
yeah.
He started putting the information on his website that most pool builders, most business owners, in fact, are reluctant to divulge. He started talking about price. He acknowledged that some people had problems with fiberglass pools and they were not for everyone. He published a list of the best pools builders in the area, and he did not include his own company on the list. Now he's becoming the resource for everyone. Mm-hmm. So that's what we try to do. Like, we post and cover everyone. It's not even clear who's a competitor or a partner anymore, and we like it that way. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that we think if you put out great information, it's a form of advertising and marketing. It's really powerful because your community trusts you.
Okay, but where did you get that idea? Good information is marketing. Where did you come up with that?
Well, I've heard it from a few people. Believe it or not, Dave Weiner, who was one of the people who helped develop RSS Edit, and then also in my previous life in advertising, there was different permutations of it. That's just the fastest way to say it. Good information is marketing. Good information is advertising. People call it content marketing now, but content marketing, it's like people who are talking about it don't do content.
That's a little weird. Usually it's like, how can we like mass generate content by scraping blogs?
Unfortunately what content marketing has turned into is have someone write a dumb article about something and put it on a site just so it has nothing to do with the core business or the business problem you're trying to solve or the cause. So the places that I learned this stuff from was from an advertising agency called Fallon, and this was their ad that they did in 1981, and it was called Fallon McElliott Rice. And their whole thing was for companies that would rather outsmart the competition than outspend them.
Look at those glasses.
Yeah, and Pat recently passed away, and he was a big influence on me. David Ogilvy, there's a great book and there's a great thing, How to Create Advertising That Sells.
And so he gave away everything. He's like, this is it. You just follow this.
Here it is.
One page.
You're not going to do it, so here you go anyways.
You can read this and be an expert.
Yeah, and it's kind of one of the things that we say. It's like, we really want other people to do some of this type of live videos and marketing and show live demos and do these type of photographs. We think that would make all electronics and all technology better. The reality is people, they don't think that they can do it. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, that's a bunch of work. But it's not. It really isn't. You probably just need to find the right cause. If you think getting the word out about something really important is too much work, well, maybe you're working on the wrong thing. So for us, like, I wish there was more hours in the day. Mm-hmm. I wish we could do a video. We almost have a camera everywhere now, but getting people inspired and show and tell. If it was 2 hours, we'd have people there. If Ask an Engineer was 24 hours, it'd be, if we had a TV station, which is kind of what it's approaching right now. People watch it on Chromecast, on Apple TV, and that's the other thing. We have all this content available in all the places that people go. So that's all the places that, and all the people that that influenced me. The thing that it's kind of a, I don't have too many tricks in my bags of trick, But Fallon was the agency that did BMW films. So what we did was we made amazing films, and we just had a BMW in it, and we shot up the cars. We had Clive Owen as the driver, and Ang Lee was one of the directors, and that was the deal. Great content, and it just happened to have these amazing, well-engineered cars, and it solved a brand problem that they had, which is like, oh, like BMW drivers are kind of jerks. So it made them heroes. So that was a form of content, and also there was this interactive app, and you can build your own car and hit a buy button and go to the showroom and all that. So there's a theory that I think good marketers have is just put out amazing, entertaining content that people really like, and maybe they'll give you a chance to sell them something. So I think that's what it is. Like why is one breakout board better than the other? Well, the most code, the most videos, the most tutorials, the most support.
Mm-hmm.
And
do everything, all 6 things.
And when you make something cool with it, you have a place to show it, like a show and tell, or on Twitter or Instagram, and you'll see the company tweet it. You'll actually see some of the people that work at the company who make the thing. You'll see some of the testers that they use there.
Get junk.
You'll see how it's made and where it's made. You'll be able to tweet at them. And you'll know, like, hey, they're in New York. This is cool.
There's real people.
There's real people. You'll be at a conference. You'll meet some of us.
You can find them because they're glowing.
Because we're glowing. And, maybe there's a show that a kid can watch. And maybe they're not ready for an electronic project yet, but they can watch a cool video about a little robot and a Lady Ada who wants to teach electronics. So,
What a lovely story.
Yeah. All right, so Lady Ada, that is our marketing episode.
Okay.
That's it. So
lovely.
So next one is going to be production. So for production, we showed some of this. Maybe we'll recycle some of these images, but we'll talk about how we actually make these. Y'all have met some of the people now, sort of, who make Circuit Playground. I just did a 360 video of our fabrication and manufacturing facility, so you'll be able to see in 3D Noah and Vance. And actually, Vance mentioned Circuit Playground, so you can watch that on youtube.com/Adafruit. So that's marketing. I think this is like marketing 2016.
That was kind of everything. I mean, like this can, that applies to everything. I mean, it's Circuit Playground, of course, is the theme, but it's no matter what your business is. This is the new way. This is how it's going to be done. This is the future.
Yeah. And, one of our partners, I'll just say it straight up, was Fluke. We sell Flukes, and we're just like, can we just give you a camera, and can you just put a camera in the factory? We just want to see how the Flukes are made. We just, they're made. And
they're yellow.
Can we just, get it? Can we fly out there? Can we just show how these things are made? And, they're a giant company, so they're not thinking like that. And their biggest challenge, they said, was, making it clear, these are made in the USA, they're really important, and they're high quality.
How do we tell people that they're made in the USA? And I'm like, how about you take a video of the factory?
Yeah.
And they're like, what?
Yeah. And I'm like, I can give you one of these cameras. You can just put it on there, hit record. So, this is the type of marketing that it's never been easier. YouTube's free.
Yeah, Facebook is free. Everything is free. I mean, you can pay for Google AdWords, but getting content to Google is free. It's never been easier. You can just put your files on GitHub. You can get a free WordPress blog. You can have your own free wiki. Everything is free, or minimum $20 a month.
Yeah.
So inexpensive now.
Okay, so we do production and then distribution and support. So we're at the halfway point. We're well beyond the halfway point.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Lady Ada. So that's it for marketing.
I learned so much.
And this is all the stuff you told me what to do.
Hey, it's funny? This video is in and of itself marketing too.
It was all a dream. All right, later, y'all.
All right, later. Good night.